Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. And now we wrap up our look at the upcoming weekly series on this channel for the remainder of the 2023 season. We are almost there, guys. We are almost there. So I want to go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing on Friday. And this one has kind of become a consistent staple of the channel for the last, I think, 3 years now. And there's no reason to change it because this stuff is really important. This stuff really matters. And I think if you want to have your finger on the pulse of how this team is doing overall, it's a good idea to start here with your pass rush. And sacks are great. Strip sacks are awesome. QB hits, sure. But this is going to be looking at the big picture of quarterback pressures. Quarterback pressures are where it all starts. When you pressure a quarterback, you get him off his spot. You make him throw inaccurately. You make him throw before he's ready. You force things like turnovers. You force him to start accelerating the clock in his head. Everything good comes from that. High pressure numbers usually means you're playing with a lead and forcing the other team to pass because you're up multiple scores late in the game. So if your team's getting a lot of QB pressures, good things are probably happening. And if your team isn't, then they are probably not having a lot of success. So, with all that being said, this spreadsheet is going to break down each player on the defense by number of pressures they get in each game. And by the end of the year, we'll have a really good idea of who was doing a good job harassing quarterbacks and who maybe let us down a little bit. So, the way I see it, the goal should be to average 10 QB pressures a game. By the way, when I say 10 QB pressures, I mean 10 QB pressures on Pro Football Reference, PFR. PFF does their own pressure stuff. It's far more lenient. And if you want to use that as kind of a comparison, that's fine. But I'm using the PFR methodology, which I believe is far harsher. I think they need you to actually really get close to the quarterback for it to count. I've read before that PFF apparently has a thing where if you ever not have an offensive player between you and the quarterback, it counts as a pressure, even if you're like 8 yards apart. And that has its value. I'm using the PFR system. So we're going to be using the PFR data. Just so you guys know, that is where I'm getting the data from. That's what I'm going to be using. I prefer the way they do things when it comes to things like this. So we're going to go for each game, and then we're going to have a total at the end of the year. And I also have a projection, a preseason projection of how many pressures I think each player is going to get. So we'll see who's meeting expectations, who's exceeding them, who's falling short, who's come out of nowhere, etc., etc. And again, the goal in my mind is 10 pressures a game. If you're getting 10 quality quarterback pressures a game, you're in pretty good shape. You obviously want more, but 10 would be nice. So here's what I have. Defensive line, again, this is just the initial draft. This is just the initial template. Got Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed, Mario Edwards as your starters. Mike Morris, Cam Young, Miles Adams, and Brian Monet as the bench guys. I have Draymond Jones getting 24 pressures. I think he's probably going to be the by far leader of defensive linemen. I got Mario Edwards getting 15. It sounds like he's going to play enough to do it, and he's good enough to get not even a pressure a game. I originally had Jaron Reed with 15, but now that he's playing nose tackle, I think there are going to be less opportunities, so I went down to 10. Mike Morris, I got 10. I'm not sure if he's going to play enough, but if he does, I think he can get to about 10. Cam Young, I have 3. He's a nose tackle. It's not really his game. Not expecting a ton there. Miles Adams, I have 5. If I felt like he was going to play more, then I would be definitely willing to bump him up because I like him. But as of right now, it seems like he's not going to get to play that much. But obviously, hey, things will change throughout the season. Brian Monet, I have 1. It's not his game. It's not really his thing. It's not what he does. So we'll give him 1 because I think he'll be out there enough for that. And you total it all up, that is 68 combined pressures from the defensive line. So not a bad start, but we need to see something pretty strong from the edge group if we want to get there, right? If we start at 68 from the defensive line. Linebackers, we've got 3 guys we're starting with here. I got Bobby Wagner. I'm going to say 7. I don't think we're going to rush him as much as the Rams did, but we're going to rush him more than we did in some of the previous seasons we had him. So I think Bobby Wagner gets to 7, kind of a nice middle ground between what the Rams did and what we did. Devin Bush, I say 2. He's not going to play every snap, and when he does play, I think his role is going to be more about stopping the run because he'll be out there with the 2 inside linebacker sets. So I don't think he's going to blitz a ton. And then Jordan Brooks, I'm going to say he gets 1 QB pressure. At some point, he just picks one up. I don't know when, I don't know how, but he just does. Edge rushers. This is where the sausage is really made. And I think our edge crop is going to do quite well this year. I've got Nwosu at 25 pressures and Boye Mafe at 23. So our starting edge room combines for 48 QB pressures, almost 3 a game. That's a pretty good place to start from. Now, Darrell Taylor I have down at 15. Some people won't agree with that, but I really feel like with how good Nwosu is playing and how good Mafe is looking, Taylor's just not going to get as much playing time as we thought. Mafe's come along so quickly, I'm starting to kind of feel like Darrell Taylor is going to be on the bench more than we thought. So I just don't think there are going to be that many opportunities. Now, I will say this. The opportunities he gets should be good. But at the same time, while Darrell Taylor is a good pass rusher, he's not, he's not Reggie White. He hasn't panned out that way. He's not TJ Watt. He's not one of these hyper elite pass rushers. He's a good pass rusher. So even though he's getting out there fresh, even though he's getting out there in obvious passing situations, I'm not convinced he's going to have this blow-up season. So I'm going to go with 15, play it safe. Derek Hall, I'm going to say 7. I don't think he plays a lot, but I think he plays enough to get to 7. Tyreek Smith, I'm going to go with 3. Not going to be a ton of playing time for Tyreek, but I say he gets a few. And that gets you to 73 total. Pretty nice. So we're most of the way there. Cornerback. Cornerback's tough because you just don't know how often you're going to send cornerbacks on blitzes. And it all comes down to that at the end of the day. I say Woolen, Jackson, and Trey Brown don't get any, but I think Witherspoon gets a couple because he's going to play in the nickel. And the nickel blitz is a part of this defense that we have shown an interest in, even in previous years where we didn't blitz that much. And I think Kobe Bryant also gets one because he's going to be playing in different places. He's going to play some in the slot. He's going to play some at safety. I'm going to say at some point he gets in and gets a QB pressure. Kobe Bryant actually was pretty good on the quarterback blitzes last year. He had a couple pressures, so hopefully we use him in that capacity again. It seemed like something he could do. Safety. So I may regret this, but Jamal Adams, I've got getting to 14 QB pressures. Needs to play enough to do it, but if he does play enough, he can easily get there. And then I have Julian Love getting to 2. I don't think he's going to send on the blitz that much, but he'll get sent on the blitz enough. So Quandre Diggs and Jarek Reed, I don't think get any. Diggs doesn't really blitz hardly at all, and Reed's not going to play very much. So that gets you to 16. And if all that happens, you get to exactly 170 pressures. Exactly 10 a game. 17 games, 170 pressures. You're looking pretty good. You're not looking amazing, but that's a nice milestone to aim for here. And you add it all up. You look at all these players, you do the numbers, you think about it. It can be done. You just got to go out there and do it. So that is going to be Pass Rush Friday. Hope you guys are ready. It's going to be fun to do this every week. Hopefully we have more fun than we did last year when a lot of weeks the pass rush was just dead. Hopefully we see some improvement on that. So I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you think might get added to this list as the year goes on. Again, remember, all this just a template. See you guys later.